Thank you. طيب احنا okay, it's in English. So I think we can start the session by asking you how do you see yourself in the next, how do you see AI in the next 10 years in a conference? How do you think this will change the setup of a conference with the AI that is happening? Any ideas? So usually what I say is that next time that whenever we join like a course or we come to a conference, as a presenter, I'll be coming with my AI agent, and everyone sitting here will be coming with their own AI agents. That is basically his or her assistant. So how can this help? If you think about it, if I have my agent and everyone here has his own agent, then I can give the talk in a better way that can adapt with the audience, with their backgrounds, because your agent will be having like all your history, what you have been doing in your life, what have you studied, what are your strength points, your weaknesses, and so on. So we can create a system where I can give even a better talk that can help people enhance in their careers. So this is usually how I see AI, how is it going to transform the educational sector or the conferences in maybe the next 5 to 10 years. Yeah. Okay, so who I am? I'm Dina Helmy, obviously. So I have been working in, I graduated from computer science. I worked at Dell. I took a double master's degree in data science and big data analytics. First year was in Spain and then in France. And then I started my journey in the data field in the startups. That's when I started working at Swavel for almost 2 years, started working in a very small like room up till we reached the headquarters in Dubai. Then I worked at CIB for around a year, and then I worked at Capita, and then I worked as a teaching assistant in Slaska. After that, I worked as a consultant in a couple of companies in Egypt, Saudi, Africa, and in Spain. And I also worked in Banco Mostra for around like 2 years, okay? What am I doing now? Now, currently, I'm the Chief AI Officer of xBites. xBites is a company around conversational AI. We started in Egypt and hopefully moving to Saudi Arabia in like Q3 of this year, inshallah. Okay. So first question, what is an AI agent? Everyone is talking about agents. Everyone is talking about AI and agents. Anyone knows what's an AI agent? In very simple words? Yes. A specific task to do, okay. Does it need any help?
It's help to give a prompt, basically, to give a role.
Prompt. Okay. Okay, but now you're saying that the AI agent is a model. Yes, it's not a model. So what's it? It's a?
It's combination. You need a model to understand some text and output text to give it to something like.
So the way I see AI agents is a system. One of the components of the AI agent is the language model. It could be large language model, small language model, could be tuned, and so on. So AI agent, whenever I think about AI agents, I say, who is a human agent? What does a human agent does? Let's assume now that I'm asking my assistant and I'm telling my assistant, send me an email to the team about the new product release. How am I going to act as an assistant, as a human being? First thing I would say, I need to understand the task. Second thing, I'll open the email. After that, I will look what are the new products and then send the message. So the first part is the reasoning and the logic. After that is the tool use. And then after that is the access to information, okay? And this is actually what are AI agents. They do the same 3 things, but instead of being a human being, it's actually the AI doing this, right? There is a book actually by Google that I always refer to from DeepMind. They are explaining AI agents in a very simple way. They say that AI agents, it's a system that contains of 3 things. The first one is the orchestration. The first component is the orchestration. Second component is the model. And the third component is a tool. So any AI agent up till now is composed of 3 main components. Now if we focus about the first part, which is the model, as someone mentioned, the model could be, it's just like 20% of the AI agent, by the way. So the model could be one language model, 2 language models. It could be actually a small language model, large language model. It could be a fine-tuned one. It could be a multimodal, accepting different data types and so on. So this is the first part of the model. The second part is the tools. I need the AI agent to access different tools outside the world, right? Like we said the example of the agent, I need to send an email, so I need access to the email, right? So the tools could be APIs, I need to call external tools, or a web search or calculator, for example, or data stores, which is basically RAG, and this is what we're going to focus on. Now, the third component of an AI agent is the orchestration layer, is like the memory. Should I have a short memory, long-term memory, or how it should be? The prompt engineering, how should I prompt actually this agent? How should it behave, and so on. So this is basically like the three components of the AI agent. And when we think about AI agents that consist of those three components, I always say an AI agent is a brain, a very specialized brain that knows something very, very in-depth. And now I can take this brain and do some sort of actions, okay? Any questions so far? Okay, so now what is RAG? Anyone knows what is RAG? Yes?
So it stands for Retrieval-Augmented Generation.
Okay.
And it's based on like a trusted document, a trusted information, which helps the AI tool or like the LLM to increase the efficiency and trustworthy when the responses are prompt.
Okay. Okay. Anyone wants to say something else? What is a RAG? So RAG, yes, is Retrieval-Augmented Generation. You can think of it as ChatGPT, but grounded on the data of the company. So now, what's ChatGPT? ChatGPT is trained on thousands of data points globally, right? And when you ask ChatGPT something, it replies. It replies based on the data that this LLM model knows. But what if now I want to ask about a product in the company? Would ChatGPT be able to answer this question? Why not? Yeah, you. Exactly, because the model wasn't trained actually on this data, so eventually it will not be able to give you the answer about this product. So this is actually the importance of RAG. RAG is like ChatGPT, or like language models, but it's grounded on the data of the company. Now, the components of the RAG, I usually look at the RAG that it has mainly two blocks or two components, the ingestion and the retrieval. Now, when it comes, let's give you an example. Let's say, for example, now I'm asking a question to the ChatGPT, what is the price of this product? What happens is that it will take this query, try to change it to some sort of a language that the computer understands, which is like the zeros and the ones, and then tries to find in the whole base of the products of this company, which is the product that I'm asking for, and then bring me back the answer, right? And this is actually RAG. RAG is composed of two parts, like the ingestion part and the retrieval part. The ingestion part, it happens offline. You have some sort of documents of the company that you want, or that probably the clients are going to ask about. So you take all the documents, you parse the documents, you chunk the documents, do embeddings, and then the indexing. Has anyone worked on building a RAG, by the way? Okay, so most probably you know, like, what's the parsing, the chunking, embeddings. So can you tell me what is the parsing, or why is the parsing important?
Parsing is taking the documents or the text in the documents and extracting only the important parts of it for the words without punctuation anything. If I want to parse a web page or the content of a web page, I will not take all of the components that exist inside this web page. I only need the beneficial information inside it or the text inside something.
Okay, somehow. Now I'll give you an example. Let's assume I'm having this PDF, and I want to ask about, let's say, for example, the model architecture about this PDF. The RAG process that will happen is I will take this PDF, I will extract all the information in this PDF, extracting all the titles, the text, the images, the tables, whatever. This is the process of the parsing. So I extract everything, and then I will say, okay, it seems that this part belongs to the same topic, which is model architecture. Now, this is background. This part, this is a chunk. I will break this as a full chunk, and I will say, okay, transform this chunk into zeros and ones, and this is under the title of background. And the first part, introduction, take this part, I'll break it down. So chunking is the process of breaking down the PDF into parts that are semantically similar to each other. So in this case, very simply, I can say as an example, background is a chunk, introduction is a chunk, and model architecture is a chunk, okay? Then after doing the chunking, I do the embeddings. Embeddings is the process of changing this text to some sort of numbers, in simple terms, numbers, and then I store them in a database, which is like the indexing part, okay? The retrieval component is basically that happens online. You are asking about something, so you start querying, and then when you query something, what will happen is you will take this query, you will change the query to embeddings, numbers, and then you will start to understand this query, how similar is it from the index, or the vector store that has all the data that I have stored, okay? So this is a brief understanding about RAG. It has two components, the ingestion and the retrieval. Ingestion, it happens offline, and it's the process of changing all your documents and to store them in terms of numbers in your database. And the online part, the retrieval, is basically the one that you get the query and try to understand how similar is the query from all the knowledge that I have stored in my database, okay? Now when it comes to RAG, people think that RAG is very easy to be implemented. It's like the 10 minutes video that happens and you just go online and just do it, and it's true. That's why whenever I talk about RAG, I say there are 3 types of RAGs. The naive RAG, which is like the 10 minutes YouTube video, you drag and drop some components, you add them, and that's it. But this one is not scalable. This one will be accepting a set number of PDFs, 2 PDFs, 3 PDFs. It wouldn't be able to scale because the accuracy will drop down big time. And it wouldn't be taking any actions. It will just like upload the documents, chat with 3 documents, and that's it. So the naive RAG, it's very easy to be implemented. You get the data, you do the parsing with a package called PyPDF from Python or unstructured IO, for example, and then you say, okay, I will split my document into a specific number of chunks. Every 250 chunks or characters, every 250 characters, this is a chunk. Yalla, store it. Every 250 characters, take the chunk, store it. This is very naive, actually, okay? And then the retrieval, with a very simple cosine similarity, you try to get the similarity between the query and the data stored in your vector database, and then you get it. So this is very easily done, and I would recommend anyone to start building RAG to do the naive RAG, to be honest. You can do it on, anyone has worked with N8N? Okay, so N8N is a tool for automation. You just drag and drop. The key component of N8N is an AI agent. It has the 3 components as we talked about. The first one, the orchestration layer, the language model that you want to use, and the third part is the tools. So 10 minutes RAG, use N8N, very easy. It's gonna be scalable. You can integrate it with WhatsApp, super easy, okay? So, ايه؟ في tool اسمها ايه؟ Flowise? I don't know. What is it about? It's also for AI and AI agents. Okay. Actually, I think there are a lot. There is N8N, there is Make. Also. Exactly. بالضبط. مظبوط. So I would recommend anyone to build the RAG, the naive RAG. Why? Because RAG is always like the key component of building agents. You can build so many things on top of the RAG, so many things. So I would highly recommend to people test it out. And then after that, we have like the advanced RAG. When I say advanced RAG, I focus honestly on 3 components that needs to be focused on, and you need to do so many experiments, so many trials, and so on. Now let's assume that the PDF that I have, it has tables and it has images. So the process of parsing, you need to extract information from the text. It's going to be a bit harder. Why? Because now you need to say that, for example, the number 28.4, it belongs to the blue score for the transformer. I can see it's in something. So you have to have some sort of context in the tables and in the images to understand what's happening in it, right? So in the advanced RAG, I would say the first component is basically that the type of data that you're using is text, images, audio, video, you name it. Sorry? Structured tables. Yeah, tables, exactly. How do we do the parsing? Personally, I don't recommend the PyPDF, but if it's for naive, it's okay. So what works best is unstructured IO. There is Llama Parse, it's very strong. There is GPT-4 actually with vision, and Gemini 1.5 actually to do some sort of, let me say it I have this document, I have the table, I change, or I have this PDF, I extract the components of the PDF. The first one is the table. Now I need to give this table some sort of understanding, or try to understand what's inside the table. So this is actually the importance of like GPT-4 and Gemini, okay? So the first part is the parsing. It's the most important part. And then the chunking. Chunking, there are a lot of methodologies that you can use. There is character level, as we mentioned, like every 250 characters, we're going to say this is a chunk. Next to 150, this is another chunk, and so on. This is actually very basic. I wouldn't recommend if you want to scale with your product. Then there is a page level. You will say, okay, each page is a chunk, each page is a chunk, and so on. And then there is like the headline level, which you will say, okay, introduction is a chunk, methodology is a chunk, and so on, which is a good baseline to start with, like the headline level. And then the most sophisticated one is the semantic splitting, that you try to understand how the different components of the documents behave or are correlated with each other. This is like the most, I would say, advanced part that needs a lot of understanding about the document itself. How can I do clustering of the text and so on. And then from the advanced drag, I would say the third part, which is critical, is the retrieval. How am I going to do the retrieval component? There are two methods to do the retrieval. It's either semantic. Semantic is basically that you try to understand from the query that you are asking, how close is it, or how similar is it from the vector database or the data points that I have inside my vector database. And there is actually another one, which is keyword. It's like the BM25, if anyone have tried the keyword retrieval. The keyword is important. Why? Because sometimes you work with companies that they have specific names for their products. So this product is called, for example, Sofa XYZ, for example. And when I ask about Sofa XYZ, I need to get the exact match or exact information about this specific product. I shouldn't bring any information about any random sofa. In this case, this is semantic, like any random sofa. But if I'm focusing on a specific word, the results of the RAG make sense. Are they matching really the answer that I'm looking for? This is the precision and the recall. The generation evaluation, which is basically, there is a part in the RAG which is for the LLM to generate some sort of, or append some sort of text. This part is, you have to evaluate it with the rouge or blue and faithfulness, to what extent there is no hallucination in the prompting that we have used. And the last part is the system evaluation, to what extent is my system late, is like the speed of the system for the query, the cost of the query, and the user satisfaction. So whenever anyone talks about RAG, I say that the most advantage of any RAG system among anyone is the evaluation framework that you're using. This is like the thing that will put someone above the others. Why? Because you can build a RAG in very simple, like drag and drop things, but if you are not strong with the evaluation, then it will not be able to scale. Now, how do we do the evaluation of the retrieval, the generation, and the system, or basically the retrieval and the generation? How do we build a true source or benchmark that I can say, okay, this is the appropriate thing, خلاص. أنا طب تمام يعني we can discuss about this part maybe outside, and then like why it matters above ChatGPT, how different is it? I think we covered already this point. And ChatGPT it gives you inconsistent answers for sure. There is lack of domain knowledge, hallucinations. However, when you use RAG, it's more trustful, it's up to date, and actually you don't need fine tuning, which I wanted to cover, but there is no time. And there is another slide, but it's not showing, so I think I'm already I have exceeded the time. Okay. Any questions? Oh, يا ريت. Agentic RAG? I'll give you an example. Let's assume now that you have two different data sources. You have a data source, or let's assume you have a PDF and you have an Excel. And you need to extract the information from the PDF and the Excel. So now you have to build an agent to extract information from the PDF, and you have to build another agent to extract information from the Excel sheet. Why? Because if you use random RAG to extract information from Excel and PDF, it will give you corrupted data, yani corrupted results, very bad. So it's the process of building agents for different data sources, or that you need to access web search, you need to access other data types, for example, or that you need to take actions. Connect with Excel sheet to book a calendar, for example, and so on.
هنا بس معايا ايوه سي 1 زي ما احنا اخر مره هنا معايا ايوه شكرا
شكرا ماشي ثانك يو سو ماتش. حبيت لك الصوت ماشي. تسلم.
We have to go out.